Hello, and welcome to another WIP Wednesday. That's right. Get your beverage, get your project. Come on in, say hello in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from and what it is that we are doing together today. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for choosing to come back, hang out, spend a little bit of your day with me. And thank you for your patience while I briefly introduce myself to anybody who might be new to my channel. Hi, my name is May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies, and I also happen to have been born visually impaired, legally blind, and completely colorblind. So I mostly knit and crochet by feel. And well, today, guess what? Guess what? I'm still working on my fancy in faux fur scarf. That's right. That's right. I started this with you all on well, technically on Sunday, because I started filming a tutorial for it, right? So on Sunday, so it was up there for Mondays with May. So yes, I've definitely made some progress on it, and now I want to work on it with y'all for WIP Wednesday, okay? So I was like, you know what? Let's just do this, right? Let's just get this video done. Let's whip on our scarf together, right? So that's what we're doing. Yeah, so, and if you're new to the whole WIP Wednesday concept, by the way, it is WIP. That stands for work in progress. So let me know, what's your work in progress today? What are we doing together today? Are you knitting? Are you crocheting? Are you cleaning? Are you organizing? Do you got a WIP at work? It's totally okay if you got a WIP at work. If you're like, hey, I hadn't even crochet. I can't crochet. I can't knit right now because you know what? I'm pulling some long shifts at work these days, right? Got big projects due. It's totally fine. We'll support you. We'll encourage you, right? I remember those days. So it is all good. So Sunday, I made the decision to post my fancy info for crochet tutorial for my hat. So did anybody watch that? I want to hear what you thought of it. I want to hear how is it, like, can you see your stitches in the faux fur on crochet or not? And if not, was my sort of description, of how to crochet by feel, is that helpful to you, right? Does it help you to do that? I want to know those things. So anyways, I was pretty happy with how that tutorial turned out. So I did make a tutorial for Tuesday for my fancy info for fingerless mitts, right? Got the whole set going on. Now that one ended up they're knit, by the way. That ended up being 1 hour and 20 minutes. OMG, y'all. So I've said it before, right? My YouTube channel here, it's a WIP. It's a big old WIP, y'all. It is a work in progress, right? Everything that I do here, it's a work in progress. So I am doing what I can to get better, to improve, right? I want to be better. I want to improve. And so very much my tutorial skills, yes, I've been doing this for 8 months now, but my tutorial skills, well, they're still in the improvement, right? They're still very much in the beginner stage. So I apologize for that. I did not mean for that tutorial to end up being 1 hour and 20 minutes. I was like, wow, that's long, right? That is long. So my apologies. I'm going to do better at trying to cut that short. Like these fingerless mitts, right? We're doing these fancy. I was like, well, that's the scarf. I thought I had them right here, but if I can't find them, it's okay. But I'm talking about my fancy info for knit mitts, right? And so they're not that big of a project, right? But so they're only 20 stitches around, and so I was like, oh, I'll just work this round with you. It's 20 stitches. It's short. I'll work this. So I did that a few times, and then I was like, oh, if you only worked that round with them a few times, that adds up. Yeah, yikes. I just wasn't even paying attention to that. Didn't realize that. Can't really, see the time clock on my screen. I know there's a time clock on my screen. I do know that, but that's not really something that I'm able to view. I'll have to play around with that and see if I can't, when the camera's paused, try to find that little time clock right when I'm working and see if I can get my screen reader to read that out to me. And that will help me get a better idea of, how long is this video. Like maybe you don't need to knit or purl the whole round with them because your tutorial's already been, 50 minutes, right? So that's something I have to really work on still. So that's definitely right in the needs improvement category for myself, right? As a tutorialist, right? That's in the needs improvement category for me. So I definitely, I get it, right? I used to work in an office. I did. I used to work in mental health. I used to work as a psychologist in college counseling. And you know what? We got evaluated, right? In any job, hopefully, most jobs, right? You get workplace evaluations. And so, there's the whole needs improvement. And that clearly is something that I need to figure out how to time those things. I do lose track of time when I'm doing those. I do, especially if I break them up into pieces. Like for that one, I did the intro, and then I got interrupted with phone calls from my mom and my sister, and so I spent hours on the phone with my sister and then my mom, and then I had to eat. So it literally had been hours between the intro and then the actual filming of the tutorial. So I completely forgot even how long that intro was. And so I have to remember that too, right? When I'm breaking those tutorials up into pieces, to be like, you know what? You need to go and check how long was the first piece? How long was the second piece, right? So that I don't create a tutorial that's, 2 hours long for a small project. So, anyway, so I am making a tutorial for this scarf. This scarf is really pretty simple. And of course, we'll go over the whole set on Finish Your Friday as well. But I'm definitely, that's my aim, right? I'm like, the scarf, it's not complicated, May. It doesn't need to be that long. So I'm going to do my very best to get the scarf one shortened. And it doesn't need to be complicated. I just need to remember, right? I just need to remember when I finish up this scarf, when I do the end piece, that's what I need. Like, you guys don't need to see me work the whole thing and stockinette, although that's what you're doing now, but you clearly aren't watching the whole thing. I mean, I did work on it quite a bit, y'all. I did. I worked on it quite a bit between the Mondays with May video and WIP Wednesday. So, so I have to remember to do that, though, to turn the camera back on when I'm filming that. And who knows if I'll actually remember to, or when I'm working on it, right? When I'm actually knitting the end of the scarf, I have to remind myself, okay, May, remember, you're making a tutorial of this process, so that I remember to actually get the horizontal tripod out again and remember to film that. So that's going to be the issue for me, right? And sometimes I have a really, really good memory. Sometimes I have I can remember things in great detail from all the way back when I was 2 and 3 years old. I have an excellent memory, which part of it's because, I'm visually impaired, right? And so that's part of being visually impaired is I grew up as mainstreamed in public school. And so, I couldn't see what was written on the board. And so when a teacher said something, right, they would say something and they'd write it on the board, and then the other kids could look at the board for reference. Well, that's a luxury, y'all. That's a luxury, because I can't do that. I couldn't look up on the board and, review again and see it. So I have to get things the first time that I hear them. So I really do have a good memory. So if you're wondering, by the way, when I'm doing these yarn sale videos, right, and I can talk to you and I'm like, this is Stroll from Knit Picks and We Crochet, and it's a fingering weight sock yarn, and it's 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, right, and I can say it's 7 to 8 stitches per inch on a 1 to 3 needle. That's that's because I have a memory that for my whole life I've been dependent on, right? I can talk to you about Stroll Tweed and say Stroll Tweed is 65% superwash merino and 25% nylon and 10% Donegal tweed. I can go over with you. The Mighty Stitch is 80% acrylic, 20% superwash wool. So I can memorize stuff like that pretty well because of necessity. Because in school, that was my only option. So I spent my whole life, in school, just listening, hearing it, and remembering stuff. And so for me, it's like, okay, I can remember. So if you are wondering about that, like, yes, sometimes when it's new yarns to me, I do struggle. Okay, I do. If it's a brand new yarn to me that I've never had, that I've never featured in a video before, or maybe I featured it in a video like once before, I will struggle with it some to remember all the specs and all the details. Like there are yarns that, believe it or not, there are yarns out there in the world that I don't have all the specs on memorized, especially from other companies that I don't order from very often, like Hobby. Like I love the yarns at Hobby, but I don't order from them very often. And so I don't have all the deets on all their yarn memorized. I just don't, right? And so I'm like, okay, I struggle with that. I'm like, especially because they have a lot of blends. Oh, and Morocco. I mentioned to you when I was doing the sale for the webs video, I said I have a Morocco unboxing coming, right? Because my LYS, my local yarn store, sent me a discount code for Morocco yarns. And so, like a lot of the Morocco yarns, just like a lot of the yarns at Hobby, they're blends of like 3 or 4 different fibers, okay? Like if a yarn is just 2 different fibers, like Mighty Stitch and like Wool Ease, right? I know both of those are 80% acrylic, 20% superwash wool, and so those are easy for me to remember. But if a lot of the Morocco yarns and a lot of the yarns at Hobby will be like a blend of like cotton, acrylic, and nylon, or wool, acrylic, polyamide, you know, so 3-4 different fibers, then my brain, especially if they're yarns that I don't order very often or are brand new to me, then my brain does get a little bit overwhelmed and I do struggle more. I'm like, it's what percentage and how much of that? So, you know, it depends on how long I've been buying that yarn and how much I've been talking about it. So, and of course, how tired am I? So that was the thing I was talking about. Like, if I remember, see, went off on this whole little tangent on y'all, right? Went on this tangent. But that's what I was talking about, is if I remember to film the end of this scarf. And I was talking about that because I have a really, really good memory out of necessity. But I'm super tired these days because of the whole insomnia thing. Because, you know, I don't sleep really anymore. And so, I'm tired. And so when I get tired, right, when I go weeks and weeks and months and, you know, I think years, I think it's been a few years now that I've been struggling with insomnia, I start to have bigger issues with memory when I'm only sleeping like 3 or 4 hours a night now all of a sudden, you know, for weeks and months on end. So like even now when we're making this video, it's in the middle of the night. We'll see what time it is here. We'll check and see. Let's see, what time is it? It's 11:56 p.m. So it's almost midnight. Yeah, it's almost midnight. It's 4 minutes to midnight. So, you know, so, and I actually thought I was going to sleep tonight. I was like, oh, I'm tired. I'll go to sleep. I was in bed. I was in bed, lights off, project down, and it's like, oh, I feel so tired, and I feel tired early, and yay for that. It's like 10:30, and I was super excited that I felt tired at 10:30, and I was like, I'm gonna sleep early. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah, and then guess what? So I was like, you know what? Get some clothes on, right? Get some clothes on and get up and just make your WIP Wednesday, because that was like what I was going to do later on after I went to bed and slept, you know, for like, you know, 4 or 5 hours. That was my plan, was to get up and have my coffee, do all my stuff in the morning, and then, you know, take my shower and do my WIP Wednesday video. So guess what? We're just whipping it now. We're whipping it early, late, whatever, middle of the night whipping it. So I don't always like to make videos in the middle of the night for things like if it's a yarn sale video or a yarn unboxing video. I do not want to do that in the middle of the night if possible, because I know that, you know, the majority of the world is sighted, right? I'm aware of that. I may have some visually impaired people out there, I don't know, listening to my videos. Hope so, but who knows? So I may, but I know that the majority of you are sighted. And so when I'm doing a yarn sale video, or I'm doing a yarn sale, or I'm doing a yarn unboxing. I know you want to see they're pretty, right? You want to see the color. You want me to show you those beautiful purples and the blues and the reds and all of that. Like, I'm very aware of that. And so that's why I do my best, even though it's like hard on my eyes. I'm like, you know what? You got to do those videos during the day, right? So that I can have the natural light coming in from my westerly window over here in my little spare bedroom here. And so I was like, you got to do those in the day so that they can see the purples and the reds and the blues and all the shades and all the pretty. So I don't like to do those videos in the middle of the night. But this is a WIP Wednesday video, right? We're just whipping. We're just crafting. I'm just doing the scarf. You saw the scarf in the daylight for Mondays with May. And the tutorial will be filmed in the daylight. Like, the first half of it is definitely filmed. Oops, see, I'm struggling with my last purl stitch. The first half definitely filmed during the day, and that is something that I said to myself. I'm like, because it's a tutorial, and I know most of you aren't just listening. Most of you want to see the stitching for tutorials. So I was like, they got to see this. So I try my very best to film my tutorials during the day, and then even turn on the overhead lights and the lamps and all the things to try to accommodate all ye sighted folk out there. That's right. Yeah, I know how to accommodate sighted people. I've lived with y'all my whole life, right? My mom's sighted, my mom's driven, my dad still drives at 89. My sister used to drive. She, doesn't anymore. But she certainly did at one time, and I think she still has a legal driver's license. So I've lived with the whole family of sighted people, and like I said, I was mainstreamed in public school, all of that. So I lived with sighted people, had lived with sighted boyfriends. The man whose house I share here, he's sighted, right? He drives, all of that. So I'm very familiar with living with light dependent folks, right? People who need light to see and do things. I'm familiar with that. So for some videos like the tutorials and the unboxings and things, I do try to do those during the daytime. But you know what, for a Mondays with May and like a WIP Wednesday video, right? I'm like, you know what? We can totally do this at midnight, right? We can whip it at midnight. There is nothing wrong with that, because it's a WIP Wednesday where we craft or we work on our project, whatever that might be, right? Whatever your project is, right? Whether it's organizing or cleaning or your own craft, whatever it is, you're working on your project, and we're just chatting, we're just visiting, right? And so I'm assuming that if you're sighted, well, oh my goodness, I'm struggling with my first purl stitch on this row. Oh, purling with this fur, I can't lie. Like, purling is more of a struggle for me. And then purling with the fur, it's a little slower, especially that first stitch can be tight, right? My first stitch, a little bit tight. And then the last stitch, I'm always like careful, because I'm like, don't let that slip off the needle, because that can happen to you with your last stitch, especially with a slippery yarn, slippery needles. It can happen. So I'm always struggling with that first and last purl stitch on this scarf. But anyway, see, off on a tangent. My mind's like off doing other things. My mind is off doing other things. So anyways, I can't even remember what I was talking about before I got stuck on my purl stitch. OMG. Awkward. Oh, I was talking about, so I can do a WIP Wednesday though, because I assume that if you're knitting, if you're visually impaired, then you don't need to see me anyways, right? You don't need the light on when we're whipping it. You don't need it. But if you're sighted and you're knitting or you're crocheting with me, right? If we're crafting buddies, then most sighted people do look at their projects more, not like I know most people who, if they've been a long time knitter and they're just like me, right? I'm just knitting and stockinette stitch, just the knit stitch on one side, that purl stitch on the other. So most people, if they're just doing that and they've been knitting for years, they don't have to look at every single stitch. They can kind of like, watch a video or watch the TV, or like my sister can knit and watch TV, that kind of a thing. She doesn't have to look at every single stitch when she's just working stockinette stitch or garter stitch or something like that. She's doing a more complex lace pattern, right? Then she needs to look at her pattern and look at her work more, and I suspect that most people are that way. So most of you, if we're stitching buddies, right, if we're hanging out and craft buddies, then you're probably looking at your craft, or you're reading your pattern, right, or whatever. And so then you are probably not like super focused on what I'm doing. I mean, you might be glancing up at me every now and then. And guess what? If you aren't, if you're like looking at your crochet project and your crochet pattern, guess what? I'm still knitting. I'm trying to make sure I stay on camera. I hope that I am. Trying to make sure that I got my hands in a place that you can see them. So, so we're crafting buddies, right? We're hanging out and we're crafting together. So, so I feel like it's okay for me to do a Mondays with May or a WIP Wednesday video in the middle of the night, right? But yes, I literally was in bed thinking like, I'm gonna sleep. So my hair, excuse the hair, y'all, excuse the hair. Like, I literally already had my, I can't lie, I cannot lie, you guys. I had my pajamas on for the night. Jammies were on. Hair was put up for the night. And after I laid there in bed for so long, I'm like, you know what you're going to do in the morning? After you have coffee and you wake up, you're going to take a shower and you're going to make a WIP Wednesday video. So I was like, you know what? Get up, right? Put some clothes on, right? Put some jeans. So I just grabbed some jeans and a sweater and a bra, right? Like, so nothing fancy tonight, nothing fancy. Just a, stripy sweater and jeans and a bra and, take my hair down. So I thought about leaving my hair back. What do you guys think? If we do a WIP Wednesday, like a insomniacs WIP Wednesday, whipping it with the insomniacs, a wandering insomniacs, right? If we do a late night, middle of the night insomnia version of WIP Wednesday, should I just leave my hair up next time? Should I leave it back in a braid? What about the PJs? Can we whip it in PJs, y'all? What do you think? I want to hear from you in the comment section. Like, I need to know, appropriate or not appropriate to whip it up with my hair back in a braid in my PJs. And they weren't like skimpy pajamas, because you know what? It's November. It is cold here. It's in the 30s at night here, 30s Fahrenheit here in the United States. And so, we're getting down to freezing at night. So let me tell you, they're modest PJs, okay? They're like tights. They're like a full-on pair of, tights, and it's actually like Christmas. It's like a Christmas onesie, right? Long sleeve, all that. So, it's like totally hilarious. Christmas. Oh, my Christmas. Oh, speaking of how much I love faux fur, you guys, right? I'm working with faux fur. My Christmas jammies that I had on, they're like a Christmas print, kind of like a onesie thing, and they have faux fur on them. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, you see, this is how much I love the faux fur. I got Christmas jammies with the faux fur around the collar, y'all. Yes. I got out my Christmas jammies already. I did. Yep, that's the first Christmas thing that came out this year, as like, needing to, rotate out the jammies, right? Put the jammies in the laundry basket and get out clean jammies. And I like, haven't done anything else Christmas yet. And I'm like, ooh, it's November, May. It's November. It's appropriate to get out Christmas jammies now. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited about that. Yeah. So we'll talk more about that, though, in another video. But yes, it's true. I was wearing Christmas jammies, had my hair all up, tucked in bed, right? And then I was like, obviously, the sleep was just a tease. The sleepiness was just a tease. Yeah, it was. It was like, oh, you're drowsy. You're going to sleep. And just kidding. You're not actually going to sleep. You're going to be up for, till, I don't know what, 2 o'clock in the morning or something. I don't know. So I was like, yeah, get dressed and just do the things. So, so that's what we're doing. So let me know in the comment section, can we whip it with our hair in a braid in our Christmas jammies? Or is that like not appropriate for YouTube? I can't decide. So I need help from you, my viewers, to know if we should like have a middle of the night pajama party. So it's got to be after midnight now. You know what? Some of you guys know, that I watch Juan the Yarn Addict, right? You know that. I'm a fan of his. I learned from him. He was the guy who did the make-along for his Big Boxy Cardi. So I did that. So he does live videos. And I actually think, okay, because he's on the East Coast, he's in Delaware, and I'm in Washington State, and I think he's going to go live this morning at like 4 o'clock Delaware time. So 4, 3, 2, 1. That's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning my time. He's going to do a live chat. So if I'm awake still in and out, which I don't know, I might not be, I might be asleep. If I'm asleep, I'll be thrilled. I will be thrilled to sleep through Juan's live chat at 1 o'clock in the morning my time. Okay, I will. Not that I don't want to, join his video, because I'll be happy to, but I'd rather be sleeping. So if there's any chance at all that I can fall asleep before 1 o'clock in the morning, you better know it. I'm going to, get back into my jammies as soon as we're done whipping it, right? As soon as we're done whipping it, I'm going to put those Christmas jammies back on, going to rebraid the hair, and try to sleep again. But if I'm still awake at 1 o'clock in the morning, I might just tune into that. I might make him my crafting buddy. So I might be heading over there at 1 o'clock in the morning if I'm still awake. But that's a big if, right? And if not, if I sleep through it, I'll be thrilled. And then guess what? I'll probably still be awake at 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I'll just whip it with one then, right? I'll do it then. So it doesn't really matter to me. I'm like, if I catch him live, it'd be fantastic, because I can say hi, right, at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I can support his midnight, or middle of the night. It's not a midnight, but middle of the night live, which is very cool for him to do that. So, and he does that for his international viewers. If you're wondering why he goes live at 4 a.m., first of all, it's because he has a day job, right? So he has to be at work early in the morning and do all his, adulting responsibilities. But also he's got a large international crowd, right? He's got a lot of people over in Europe and South Africa and all different places of the world. And so, they don't make a lot of his lives during the week, like, because they're asleep or they're at work or whatever. And so he's found that, that 4 a.m. Eastern time live works better for them. So he's like, yeah, let's go live, let's do it, right? And we'll whip it there. He'll do his just like a chat video then. So that's why he does that. So, I often miss those because, I usually am sleeping during that time. But today, we don't know yet. We don't know. So let me know what you're doing, what you're up to, how your week was going. Yes, I did watch the other hockey game on Sunday night. I know. 3 hockey games in a row. And once again, my Eastern Eagles won. Yay for that. I'm so excited about that. So they won that game 6-2. They beat USC again. I'm super, super happy about that. I'm very happy about that. So really impressed with their team. Got some new coaches this year. And that makes me happy, obviously I'll watch them. I'm not a fair weather fan, right? I'm not one of these people who only shows up and supports my teams when they're doing well. I'll watch them even when they're not winning. I watch them, okay? I watched hockey over there when it wasn't nearly as popular as it is now. So I'm not one of those kinds of people. I'm not like, I'm only a fan when you're really performing well. So, and I'm not really even that into sports. I've said it before. I'm not like I don't ever watch basketball, that kind of a thing. Occasionally watch baseball. Sort of pay attention to NHL a little bit. Know some of the teams. Don't even watch those games very often. So, but who knows what I'll be doing this winter? I might be watching more NHL. We'll have to see what happens with that. But y'all, what are you guys watching? Let me know if you are sports fans at all. Like, are you excited that it's football season or not? My dad is because I live in Washington State and I grew up in Washington State. So my daddy's a big Seattle Seahawks fan. And so he watches those games on Sunday. So like he watched the Sunday game. And he watches those games. That's his thing. And he can follow it. He can totally, he's 89, but he understands football. So I'm impressed with that. Because guess what, y'all? I do not I'm like, what? It's a what? And a field goal? And how is that different from a what? So that's not really my thing. But my daddy's happy. So let me know if you guys are sports fans. Let me know if you're watching football or I think basketball's playing. I don't even know. Like, that's how little I know about basketball, y'all. I'm like, I think people are playing basketball right now. I think the NBA is happening. I know there's like big betting scandals with basketball that I have caught, right? I mean, you can't help but hear about some things because I do get all these like, news push notifications on my phone. And so I do know I heard about some kind of betting thing going on with basketball. So maybe that does mean basketball's happening. But that's how little I follow it. I'm like, November, I think that's when they play. But let me know if you're sports people, if you're watching, if you have favorites, or what TV shows you're watching. Guess what? Landman's coming back, y'all. Landman's coming back. It's supposed to be Sunday. Now, I don't know what time I'm going to watch it yet. Like, I do not know. I don't know when I'll catch it. I don't know if I'll be able to catch it on Sunday. It depends on what I'm doing, right? Depends on if I remember, like, all the things, right? I do have a few other things to take care of, so I don't know if I'll remember. But definitely I am going to try to look that one up on the internet, on the wonderful Google, right? Ask my Google friend what time that airs. I thought I read or heard somewhere that like they were gonna drop the season premiere at like midnight or something, or 1 on Sunday, which hopefully I won't be watching it then, but we'll have to wait and see, because you know what? If it's another night like tonight, right? If I am awake then at 12 or 1, then guess what? For sure, I might as well watch the season 2 premiere of Landman at 12 or 1 or whenever it drops. But if it doesn't, or if it, I'll have to look it up because I'm completely clueless on that one. So, but I'll definitely be looking it up. I'll be researching it. I enjoyed season 1. Like I said before when I talked about it, I really enjoy that show, but it's definitely, in my opinion, it's not family content, right? Like if I had, like a 5-year-old, I wouldn't have it on while they're in the room. I use all kinds of colorful language, but I probably wouldn't have my 5-year-old listening to that. And there's adult scenes and adult themes and that kind of thing. In my opinion, that's my opinion, right? You do you in your household. You do you, as long as it's, as long as you're not harming anybody else and it's legal, you do you. So I don't, feel like it's my business to police other people or tell them what they can, watch in their homes or do or anything like that, as long as you're not hurting other people, as long as you're not abusing those children. But for me, if I had like a 5-year-old, I wouldn't have it on. I'm just saying that. Like if you've never watched it and you're, brand new to it and you're hearing me talk about it and you're like, oh, kind of interesting, I'll look it up. That's just my opinion, is that I would not have it on if I had a small child in the room. I would, watch it after they went to bed or put in the earbuds or something. So that's just my thoughts on that. But I'm definitely going to be trying to find it, tune it in. So that's going to be I believe the new episodes drop on Sundays. So that will be my Sunday company throughout the winter for however long we get that, for what, November, December, January, February, whatever, how long ever the seasons air for those kinds of shows. So anyways, my friends, I think we've been whipping it long enough. I don't have any idea how long the video is, but I'm getting close to the end of my skein too anyway, right? So we're gonna have to attach a new one. And I can do it on camera, right? I did that with my pumpkin. I can join another skein on camera, but I'm not the most graceful person at it. I'll be the first to tell you I'm not super graceful at it. So I'm not gonna do that with you tonight. I'm gonna go turn off the camera and hope that I get to sleep. So, but you know what we will say, right? Creativity is for everybody, whether you see or you see like me, which is not in color and not in the day. But hey, I can see better now. I got better vision right now, because I can see more at night. Or you don't see at all. Creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or weaving or carving or whatever it is that you do, today is a great day to craft and create, or night to craft and create. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, happy stitching. Bye-bye for now. Hoping for sleep, y'all. Hoping for sleep. If you believe in prayer, say a little prayer for me that I am sleeping. Okay. I'm going to try to put this down where I don't, don't lose my needles, y'all. That's a big thing for me, too. I'm like, don't lose your needles, May. Put them together so you can pick them up together. Okay. Bye-bye for now.